are watching T Radio V, radio in TV.
The Street Angels show on T Radio V here in the heart of Hollywood. No, I'm not going to wear these the whole time. I just thought it would be kind of fun since I bought them to try them out. So anyways, if you're joining us for the first time, my name is Mandelyn Reese. I'm known as the LA Street Angel or the Street Angel. I wear wings with posters on the back, and I promote all kinds of messages that are positive in nature and trying to get people to be kind and nice and reconnected again. So I have these various ones I go out with everywhere. So be sure to watch out for me if you see me running around the country. At this point, I go everywhere with them. So that is me. Hello and welcome. So today, we're going to be talking about dating, love, relationships, men.
Yay.
We're going to have some positive advice and really cool guests. And one of my guests you've seen before. So let's start. Oh, the purpose of the show, by the way, is to help others, to help you, to help the people I have here spread their messages and love and light to everybody. So first guest I would like to reintroduce is Anna Julia.
Hey.
She has been on the show before, and episode 1, right?
Yes, episode 1. Thanks for having me back.
Of course.
I can't wait to learn about love and men and relationships because clearly I need help in that department.
Yes, but we want to know also your advice.
Of course.
What you've learned so far.
Oh, yeah. I've learned a lot from my previous relationships, and so I have stuff to share. But I'm also ready to absorb all the information.
Aren't we all? I still need help too, you know. I think we're always constantly learning, and each new relationship we have is more growth, right?
Oh, and not only relationship with the opposite sex or with our loved one, but relationships with friends and roommates and parents.
Exactly.
And relationships in general.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have another special guest with us today.
Yay.
We have Amy Elizabeth here. Woo, welcome. Look at all the pretty bling around her. I bought some all sorts of cool stuff at the store. I was like, we got to dress this up and make it fun and exciting. So Amy, welcome. Are you excited?
I'm excited. Thank you for having me here.
Of course. So I picked Amy because she has a blog that's so relevant to this topic. LoveSexAndMiracles.com is your website.
Yes.
And blog. It's kind of all together.
Yes.
So tell us about it. When did you get started? How?
Well, I got started a few years ago because I wrote a book, and what everybody told me was to write a book, you should have a blog so publishers can see. So I started blogging, and I was blogging about everything, but what really picked up was my dating columns. So I started writing for my Vegas magazine. I'm their love editor. And then I narrowed my focus. My blog before was MissAmyCakes.com. I wanted to sound a little more older and grown up, so I changed it to Love, Sex, and Miracles. And now it's almost exclusively about dating.
That's really cool. I like the title. I think it's intriguing. It pulls people in. And, yeah, they got a little closer. They're like, woohoo. So how long have you been blogging and writing?
About 3 years.
Okay, and you wrote a book first?
I wrote the book first.
What's the book?
The book is Love, Miracles, and Mayhem in the City of Angels. So I had these, I moved here.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, totally.
I moved here from the Midwest, from an all-girls Catholic school, really sheltered, moving to LA to start school Pepperdine, and I got in all kinds of trouble. So the book is about my early experiences, and then I talk a lot about the angels I've met, and I talk about miracles.
Yeah, I like in Hollywood, too, when Pinocchio goes to, what is it, Treasure Island? Or not Treasure Island, but, the trouble area. You know what I'm talking about? The Disney's Pinocchio, he goes to, that big party place, and it's that's kind of what Hollywood's like. It tests your soul and introduces you to things, and you're and especially if you come from somewhere, like you said, all Catholic girls' school or something, and, you're whoa, you come to Hollywood and L.A., and you're this is a whole new
opportunities everywhere.
It's with Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is kind of cray. So let's hear more about being the published author and stuff. I'm really curious, what is this Vegas thing you mentioned?
Vegas?
Blog? You said a Vegas,
Oh, I write for My Vegas magazine.
My Vegas magazine.
Yeah, so I'm their love editor. So it's a quarterly magazine, and I do a column about dating and love.
That is so cool.
So do people ask questions and you answer, or how does that
I
work?
would like to do that, but I
Uh-huh.
just kind of wing it. I write the column, and so
Nice.
it's not that interactive.
Oh, okay.
Do they give you freedom in what topic you want to share?
Usually, except if sometimes there's a theme for that month, then they'll ask me, like lately, the last column I did was about women in business. So I talked about being a successful woman and dating. So sometimes they give me a little guidance.
And it's cool you mention that, because in relationships there's a lot about finding balance. You got to balance your love relationship, time with your significant other, balance your career, make sure you're putting in enough time with working and your job. If you have kids, you got to make sure they have time, and pets, you got to walk them or they pee on your floor.
I'm going to be very truthful. That's my biggest problem with relationships. It's balance. I never find the balance. So
Don't say never. Just say
yep,
you're working
I'm
on
working
it.
on finding the balance.
Yay!
There you go.
Balance.
Yeah.
So tell us, what was one of your favorite articles?
One of my favorite articles, I actually was invited to the Pickup Artist Super Conference a couple years ago, and that was in Vegas.
Pickup artist?
The Pickup Artist.
But
yeah.
wait, I heard really bad things about the pickup artist.
You know what? I found a lot of positivity in the community. What I liked is they're always honest.
Okay.
So if they're dating multiple women, they feel that they're taught that they should tell you, we're not exclusive, I'm dating. So I liked that. And then a lot of it is these men aren't very confident. So they learn how to speak to women. They learn how to be more charming and entertaining. And so I think overall it was positive.
Oh, okay.
The raciest workshop was on Same Night Lays. That wasn't my thing.
AKA one night stands, right?
Yeah.
How cool. It's very interesting. Vegas in particular is a much more sexually
driven.
I was like, what word do I use here? It's definitely out there. You go there and you're like, wow, the girls wear next to nothing, just as their everyday wear. And it's they have orgy clubs. They're really out there in Vegas in general. But it also gives them the opportunity to share that interesting way with others, right? In a way, it kind of expose them. Kind of like I try to expose people on this show to different things. So it's Vegas exposes people. I ended up in Vegas one weekend, and the pornography convention happened to be that weekend I was there.
Did you take your wings and your posters?
I did. This was actually 2 weekends ago that I happened to be in town when it was going on, and I didn't go to the convention or the awards, but they have awards for porn stars, yo. So that's kind of
everybody deserves to be recognized. Come on.
But it just kind of shows you how suppressed the rest of the country is. The fact that kind of stuff is really closeted and shamed, and we gotta eliminate some shame and judgment on sex. It's such a natural part of our lives.
I agree with that. Especially, I'm from Brazil. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I'm from Brazil, yeah. And right now it's carnival, actually. But moving from Brazil to the United States, I felt that in Brazil, people talk about sex, joke about sex. It's a very common thing, and that doesn't mean that we're having a lot of sex, that doesn't mean that we're being promiscuous or that we're sleeping with everybody. It just means that it's something natural. And when I got to the States and I came here for college, I did feel that people expected me to act one way because I'm from Brazil and because there's that taboo about sex. And but it's very, we can't talk about this, we shouldn't say that, oh, a lady can't do that. And in Brazil, we're all like, no, let's joke about it. It's natural. Everybody goes through that. Everybody's curious about it, So it's something very different. There is something.
Why is it this country, United States of America, is so suppressed and it's looked down upon, just to talk about it or be a more sexual person or I don't know. California's getting a little more open-minded with that. There's the polyamorous group, and they really are in Berkeley a lot. They have meetings. I've just heard about it, but I've never been to one. But people who have multiple lovers, and they're open and honest about it, and somehow they make it work. But, that's them. But I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Why? Well, I don't know if there's
maybe it goes
why.
Back
I don't know
in
if
history.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's just something precaution, STDs, or, maybe
Yeah.
it's,
I'm a big advocate of condoms. I mean, I realize, yeah, they don't feel as great, but I'm a big advocate because, when people have sex, it's actually a very profound connection on a molecular and physical level, as well as spiritual. Your auras are coming together. Your energies are exchanging. Even with saliva, and there's oxytocin release, which is a bonding chemical. So it's like if you're using a condom, at least like one, you're preventing a lot of STD and pregnancy risks. But also you're preventing a super bonding going on. Maybe it's somebody you don't want to like bond with yet, like you're kind of experimenting in your relationship, or maybe you're not married to them. I don't know. Everybody's got their own reasons or why they use what. Some men like them just for suppression of feeling. Honestly, they're like, well, I last longer, But it's like, I have this really cool picture. I don't know if we can show it. Like, let me see it. But it shows sex. Let's see. How your auras come together, and it's a really bonding experience. And this is Alex Gray. I mentioned him on my last show. He's a really profound artist, and he draws things on a really crazy spiritual level, but also physical. So I like those images because it kind of gets people thinking a little beyond the physical. Like, it's, oh yeah, just a one night stand, I got laid, and I just want to bed this woman and have another notch on my belt. No, there's more to it. Way more to it than just sex, right? Do you have any comments on that? Like,
I totally agree with you. I think that someone stays with you. If you sleep with them, they stay with you. And I even think with a condom too.
Oh, of
that
course.
you're just bonded to that person for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe
Or you're
forever.
sharing that special part of yourself.
Mhm.
You're opening up on another level, even if it's like a one night stand. It's the experience. For some reason, it'll last and stay with you a little bit. Like, I slept with that person. They've seen me naked. They know how the sounds I make, or whatever it is that you dwell upon. But it's there needs to be a little bit more importance on like the profoundness of sex. But yes, it's good to have fun with it, and like there's people who just go and bang around, and that's fine. There's no judgment there, right? It's like. We need to get rid of the labels like, oh, that person's a whore, a slut, or, all those bad words. I don't really want to go into that, but there's a lot of bad labels that are especially applied to women.
Yes.
For some reason, it's okay for guys to go bang all these girls, and they don't really get any, like, flack for it. But if a girl is known for doing that, then it's like, a sin, and whatever words that they use, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a double standard.
That's a good word. Exactly. Double standard. So we kind of need to change that. Speaking of which, I wanted to talk about the duality. Are y'all familiar with the yin-yang symbol?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in context of relating it to men and women, our energies need each other, and they work together to come together to create the whole. And we're very different, and we operate in a lot of different ways, but we need a lot of the same things. So I have a picture of some yin-yang. If we could flash a few of the... Oh, yeah, there we go. I didn't know they were already doing that. I did a photo shoot also on the topic. It said men and women, time for true equality. I don't know if you flashed that picture already. But it was, I found someone who looked similar to me, and I drew up a poster about the duality. And so... Anyway, and you got to be careful who you sleep with, because you can actually... I found this interesting article about sexually transmitted demons or something.
Oh.
Did you hear about that?
I heard about it from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it talks about how, like, with the sex being so connecting, you can, like, really end up bonding with the wrong person. Yeah, there it is. There's the photo shoot I did. Time for true equality between men and women. We got to bring up more of the women's energy in this patriarchal society, and, like, balance it a little better. And, have the respect for women and what they bring to the table, and in our roles as mothers and stuff. So we have 1 minute left on here. I wanted to run through, basically, if I do angel card readings, I have a Romance Angels deck by Doreen Virtue. It's pretty cool. So if
And
you
she's
wanna,
good.
Yeah. So if you want an angel card reading, hit me up on social media. So, okay, we're going to go to commercial, but when we come back, we're going to dive a little deeper into the do's and don'ts in dating.
And I'm going to learn everything.
Yes, and share some too. So we've prepared some do's and don'ts, and we're going to try to keep it as positive in nature and good advice for men as well as women. I think it can apply to both sexes pretty well. So, all right, when we come back to the Street Angels show, we'll be getting into that. So be with us. Bye.
Radio V.
Hello, and welcome back to the Street Angels show on T Radio V Hollywood. So now that we're back, we're going to be talking about do's. We encourage this stuff in dating, love, and relationships for men, but also, you know, I think women will resonate a lot with this stuff because there are similar things that we all need in relationships. So Amy and I kind of discussed this behind the scenes about our do's and don'ts, and most of the ones we came up with really match. So it's like we're kind of on like the same page. I was just, you know, wearing this for fun, but for a little bit. But so some of the do's that we wrote down were communication. So let's talk a little about how important is communication in a relationship. And we're talking mainly about romantic relationships today because we're in preparation for Valentine's Day, right?
Yay.
So communication is key because we're two unique, multifaceted souls in a relationship. And it doesn't matter if you're straight, gay, bi, tranny, whatever you are, you got to have communication in a relationship.
Okay, but let's talk about communication.
Yes.
There are lots of forms and ways of communication, right?
Yes.
So it's not just the talking, right? What do you...
Action.
Okay.
You got to back up action with your words. And affection. That's one. I brought this book, The 5 Love Languages. You and I were talking about it in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, which is action, you know, basically physical touch. So we kind of touched upon these, but everybody's different. And
Yeah, but
you know,
but going back to the communication, everybody is different. And I dated this guy, and he wasn't the best with his words, but he communicated in other ways. So he was really good at painting, so he did me paintings or massages. So he
Aw.
communicated in other ways. So we
Right.
have to always emphasize that there are other ways of communicating, and maybe the way that you communicate really well isn't the best way that your partner communicates really well.
Right.
And you have to be aware of what
Aware.
they're giving to
Right.
you.
aware, identify, you know, but also come to a compromise, you know,
Mhm.
like in talking about, you know, hey, maybe I need a little more of this, or hey, maybe you could do a little more of that, or say, you know, sometimes people don't say I love you, but people need to hear it, or
Mhm.
if people are saying they love someone, some people will be like, well, can you put some action behind it? You know, when's the last time you bought me some flowers? Like 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a random example, but do you have any idea on that?
I think a lot of men show affection by or communication by giving and doing less than by
Mhm.
speaking.
I agree.
So when they're doing nice things for you, that they're showing you that they love you. But it is always helpful if they do communicate and are more verbal.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, I
helps.
agree. And I think that was one of the mistakes in my relationship, in my previous, because I was expecting to hear things instead of just seeing what he was communicating to me. And once I learned, I spoke to my mom, and my mom is really wise. Hi, Mom.
Yay. I know the older you get, the more wisdom comes.
Yeah, she's
right?
really wise, and she said she told me, hey, pay attention to what he is doing.
right.
And that's when it clicked that he was communicating with me, just not the way that I was understanding. But once I saw that he was doing things and showing things, then I saw that he was communicating. But I agree. It's harder for them to verbalize it.
Depends on the guy,
It
but
depends on
I
the guy.
do think a lot of guys might have trouble expressing their emotion,
Mm-hmm.
partly because our society blocks men from expressing emotion in various ways, like the crying. Like a lot of men don't cry because they're taught to be strong, suck it up, right? So it's almost like when they get into a relationship, they might have trouble communicating their feelings or emotions unless they're naturally good at that, or maybe they had parents that helped them with that. It really depends, you know?
But I
I
think
got lucky. My long-term boyfriend, he was a better communicator than I was, and he was really good. But then after we broke up, I realized that most men struggle in this area.
Did he help you get more verbal?
I think so.
And
He
did you
did.
kind of stay that way after dating him?
Yeah, I feel I definitely grew as a result of dating him.
Right. See, that's kind of what I was mentioning about, like relationships kind of grow us in different ways. And something like it's cool about Anna is whenever I'm talking with her about like
Aw.
dating and stuff, like she'll provide me with a cool flip side of how to look at things. And then I'm like, oh, you know, you're right. And then like for instance, well, I probably actually don't want to bring it up on the show.
Oh, we'll gossip about it later. Sounds
Yeah,
juicy.
I don't want to give too much detail, but it's like, you know, my dating history has been a little bit of a struggle because sometimes things happen and you're like, I don't understand why that happened. I was doing the best I can. Wasn't I the best girlfriend? Wasn't I the best? Like, I tried so hard, and then if things happen or it doesn't work out and you're just like totally left like brokenhearted or like confused, it almost like, you know, a lot of people carry around these heart blockages or they shut down. And I know have y'all gone through that kind of thing? Like brokenheartedness?
Oh my
Of
gosh,
course.
yeah. Of course, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
do you think like for a while it like shut you down a little bit after experiencing that until you opened up again, or?
I think so.
Yeah, it's been, so we kind of go through that in life. But it's like, I guess, learning to get over it and stuff like that. So let's go on to some more do's. So compromise, being loving, affectionate. Any comments?
Compromise?
Oh,
Compromise is a big one.
super important.
No, just because people nowadays want, well, I'm not going to generalize because there are no absolutes in anything, but I have a feeling that our generation, everybody wants relationships to be easy, and as soon as as soon as you start fighting or as soon as there's a little inkling of a problem, people are like, okay, peace out, gone. And it's not like that. Relationships are hard. They're hard work. They're compromise.
Yeah.
And you know what? For the right person, it's worth the compromise.
That's very true. I mean, I think if you're really truly in love with somebody, like you might have rough patches and you might fight, but if the love is still there in both parties, they're gonna like fight through it and get through it and then bond and be stronger and hopefully have some good makeup sex afterwards. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes fights can bring you closer together because you're trying to get some truth out or find a compromise on something that, like, maybe you weren't aware of or agreeing upon. Like, I don't know.
Because no two people are the same.
Exactly.
No two people are the same. And dealing with another human being and dealing with other set of feelings and emotions, you're going to have to reach a compromise. It's work.
I write on, when people invite me to their weddings, I'll write in the wedding card, communication and compromise really are the keys. Like, if you can find somebody who's willing to communicate with you, you know, honestly, and tell them your feelings as you move along and progress in the relationship, and then compromise when things come up, you know, you can really find harmony if you're with a right person who's willing to work with you on that. Like, would you agree? How long was your long relationship you were talking about?
I think it was about 6 years.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so
wow.
interesting. I was in a 6.5-year relationship too, and the weird thing was it went really well, and we got along famously, and then it didn't work out in like the most bizarre way. I don't really want to talk about, but I was like really left confused. Like, I can't believe this just happened, and we divorced. But it was a very cordial divorce. Like, literally, we rode to the courthouse in the same car together, and like, we split the attorney fee in half. Like, we shared it, and we stayed roommates for 11 months after we split up. Yeah, it was a very unique relationship and split up. Like, we were still friends. But anyway, so, okay, compliments, build each other up. Important for both people, right? Like, you kind of have to point out the things that are good about them, the things that you like, appreciate that, because, like, if you focus on the negative, then it's going to create more negativity and strife and, like, contempt and toxicness, right? Did you ever, we talked about you had someone who would, criticized you or made you feel not good enough, but then you got to a point where you were good enough or within yourself?
Yeah, I had a guy tell me I was too blonde.
Oh my God. Is there such a thing?
That's what I said to her. I was like, what?
I like my blonde.
Yeah.
But, and another guy was telling me I should actually gain weight, cut my hair, not wear makeup. A lot of guys like natural makeup.
Yeah.
So just little things here and there like that.
Something we understand about each other, you and I, is our birthdays are 2 days apart.
Yes.
I'm October 24th. She's October 26th. So we're cusp babies, Libra, Scorpio. So we're very balanced between the Libra, who's like out there, outgoing, kind of flashy, like charming, like we like to dress up and look flowery and girly. And then the Scorpio, which is kind of the more, I don't know, intense or private kind of person. So it's like we're kind of even in that. So we get kind of flashy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I wanted to go all out today. I was like, I want to look as flowery and pink and girly as humanly possible because it's like a Valentine's theme. And I was like, yeah, I want to have fun with this. How often do you really just get to dress up and have fun with it? So it's like that was kind of like what I thought. Okay, so what about another respect, space, privacy, soul freedom?
So don't read each other's text messages.
Right, right. So I have had that issue before with somebody I was dating or still dating.
I've been that person. I've been the person that read the text messages. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I think it comes a little bit from, a slight insecurity. Would you agree?
Oh, no, definitely. It comes from an insecure place. It comes from a place of not knowing where you stand.
Right.
But I don't even, I'm not even sure if it's the insecurity that he's making me feel or if it's a born insecurity in me, you know?
Maybe both.
Maybe both, yeah.
Or maybe it's like you could be with the wrong person or I don't know. Like, I mean, luckily, whenever the guy break into my phone, it's like, see, I told you there's nothing going on. Like, he even broke into my Facebook and he stole passwords to everything, like, and was checking my stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, literally, he found nothing, but we just still had a big argument about the violation of privacy. So it's like, where do you find the balance between what's okay and what's not okay? It's like, okay, I'm telling you the truth. There's nothing fishy going on, but you have to break into my stuff to prove it to yourself that there's nothing fishy going on. So I don't know.
I think people look for what they want, you know? Like if they're feeling that the relationship isn't going in the right direction, they're going to look for reasons or for clues, for proof.
Validation of their own,
of their own,
suspicions or whatever. Well, I don't know. But that's part of the reason I don't want to give a person the commitment is because of these other red flags.
Well, and I think that to be in a relationship, you have to trust the person, right? You have to, because there's no
some amount of trust.
If there's no trust, there's no relationship. If there's no trust, there's no love. And I think that
that's not true because there can be love and no trust.
But is that love or is
Right.
that codependency or is that obsession or is that something, that isn't love? Because love should be free and love should make you feel good and make you, bring out the good in you and not just that negative dwelling emotion.
Well, it really depends who you're dating, the type of person they are, because sometimes things can be really good. And then there's times where it's like, okay, you did something that was really pissing me off. Like, wow. Like, okay, we got to, address this issue.
Oh, no, of course there are issues. Of course there are issues. But I think that for a foundation, you need to trust the person you're with. You need to respect the person you're with. And you need to, and before you can trust the person you're with, you have to trust yourself. You have to know, hey, I am worth it. Nothing is going to happen because he knows how much I'm worth it, because I know how much I'm worth. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any comments?
Sometimes, though, you could love someone and then they could break your trust. So there's where love and trust could coexist. But I think you should always go into it thinking the best about the other person and trusting them until they break it. Or if they break it, not if they break it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been, the issue with someone I've been dating is, the constant breaking of, trust or privacy. And it's how do you build a foundation of trust and respect when it's repeatedly broken and repeatedly shattered, and that like that's what the thing is preventing me from wanting to move forward with a commitment if there's no foundation there. So it's kind of been like a struggle, like trying to determine, okay, like yes, I absolutely definitely feel love with this person, like we have a bond, there's something very special there, but the relationship itself is on such shaky ground that it's like, how do you like move forward it's like it's kind of at a plateau. Okay, we have 1 more minute. Other good things, gifts, give love, get sex, do romantic things. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about, and we have 1 minute. Like
we can continue the list when we're back, can't we?
Okay. Well, the don'ts are supposed to be for the next segment. But okay, write good grammar, spelling, capitalization when you're addressing a woman with writing. Would you agree?
I don't mind that so much. Any letters welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, any letters welcome.
That's important to me. I'm like, if
like if you're on Tinder, I'd give preference to a guy that's well spoken than a guy that's like.
That was my point. Like,
yeah.
If you address a woman with like good grammar and capitalization, punctuation, spelling, I think it gives you more weight. And wear cologne, dress classy, like be like a peacock to attract a lady. Have maturity. Okay, unless you like the skater type. Or the grunge type. Okay, when we come back, we still have more to talk about, but we're going to talk about the don'ts, stuff we recommend not doing, or stuff like that in a relationship. So, although we kind of touched a little bit about it. Okay, we'll be right back. Street Angel Show, T Radio V Hollywood. Welcome back to the Street Angel Show on T Radio V Hollywood. So I wanted to, come in with some. I've always wanted to wear these, and so it's just like I'm going for it, and have a little mustache and stuff. But anyway, we are back. We're going to be talking about the don'ts in love, dating, and relationships. Although we did kind of touch a little bit about it briefly in the do's. So maybe we'll talk about some do's. We'll just mish and mash and just see how it goes. So some don'ts. Overly jealous, clingy, smothery, needy, controlling, bossy, abusive, critical, overly negative, messy, bad hygiene. I'm just running through them because we didn't really get to run through them all in the do's. Stalking, yelling, cussing, bad breath. So some like don'ts. And y'all want to chip in on any of that?
Also, don't be too distant, because there are guys that don't give enough attention.
Oh, let me tell you. Yeah, the guys that you really like always seem like sometimes they don't text you back, or like they're like dragging their feet, or does that happen to you sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
It like kind of drives me nuts. It's like, I love you so much, but you're not writing me back. So it's like, oh, I know that feeling. But I brought this book, The Verbally Abusive Relationship. If you happen to be, unfortunately, in a relationship that's driving you crazy and you're not sure why, you might be with a verbal abuser. I hate to bring this stuff up, but this book can help you. A lot of people are with people who are a little controlling or sometimes psycho or manipulative and in like a negative way. And so you have to be like brought aware to it in order to address it and fix the issue with your partner, or leave them if that's the healthier option. Have y'all ever been with somebody like that?
Someone once called me an ungrateful dog. Does that count?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a pretty
He would say mean things when he was upset.
That's a pretty low thing to
That's
say.
when I never answered his calls after that anymore.
Yeah, you did good. But
that's being strong. You got to be strong within yourself as a woman to realize, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to be treated this way. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say about the controlling or possessive or smothering almost or too much. This is another lesson I learned from my mom. Hi, Mom. She's great. But I was in this relationship with this guy, and I was expecting to get everything from him. All of my wants and all of my needs, I was expecting to get from him. So I wanted him to be my best friend, my lover, my business partner. I wanted everything from him. And when she told me, hey, it's okay if he doesn't provide you with other things. You can have other friends. You can get your wants and your needs from other people. That's when our relationship became so much better because it gave us room and air to breathe and to meet people and to have our minds expanded by other people and to learn new things. And then when we would come back and share stuff with each other, that's when we would have like these great moments. So if you're in a controlling, obsessive situation right now, all you need to do, I'm not giving you like all you need to do, but
Anyway.
but yeah, all that needs to be noticed and realized is that you can get things from other people. Even though you're in a relationship, you can still have a friend. You can still have a best friend. You can still have your mind expanded from other people, by other people. And as soon as you let more air and more people and more information and more creativity, more knowledge come from other places, that's going to nurture your relationship
That's
as
true.
well.
And that's you don't want to be over dependent
No, you don't
on your
wanna-
romantic partner.
Yeah.
Because it can suck their energy.
It can suck there. And you know what? A person doesn't have, like, I don't have everything to give to you. I didn't have everything to give to him. I can't give him all of his needs because I don't have that. It's not in me. I'm not that person. I don't have 100% of what he needs. And that's okay. And that is okay.
Yeah. And that's important.
I
Like-
hope I'm making sense here.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, okay, good.
Especially when in my case.
Yeah.
I've told you some stuff I've gone through. Have you had any that happen to you? Like have someone overly jealous or possessive? We kind of talked about it.
I've had a lot of, I used to have a history of having very jealous and possessive boyfriends, but I think I've kind of broken that pattern,
Good.
which is good.
Do you know, could you pinpoint what helped you break it? Was it a realization or an empowerment thing within yourself?
I think so. I think I was just very young and naive, and I hadn't dated much when I moved to LA. So I ended up actually, I was married only for like 7 months though. Someone who's very controlling. He didn't want me to even like leave the house. And then I had another boyfriend who like stalked me. And then finally I just was like, this is not how it's supposed to be. And then I had a boyfriend who was really amazing. And ever since then, like, I don't put up with anything. So
There's
it
a
was
difference
good.
between love and obsession.
Yeah, definitely.
There is, yeah. And they're not the same thing, and they're not even close to each other.
I think some people though, like they might love you and you can feel it, but they're so intensely in love with you that it comes across as an obsession. And I know from experience because, the sort of person I've been dating is like, I feel the love. It's a tangible feeling. I can feel it radiating from the chest. But the behaviors that go with it aren't always desirable. So it's like trying to work through that.
Well, and that's something that he needs to work on, and he needs to be able to balance because no healthy love is an obsessive love.
And sometimes they're so afraid of losing you. That's when they go to extremes.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah, I can see that. Like, but that's kind of like the fear-based thing that people have to work on individually is not, relationships do end at some point, even like if you get married forever and somebody dies. Like, I wrote a whole blog about this. If you're familiar with my blog, I should go read my last one about someone who changes you. That's what it's called. Basically, relationships change us and grow us. And whether or not the person's like being very direct, like be less blonde and lose weight and that kind of stuff. But also subtly, some people will give you like constructive criticism, like maybe you could work on this a little more. Maybe you can grow in this way a little more, or change here or there. And it's really up to you. It's that person's opinion, but you can choose whether or not to apply it in your life, because life is a deck of cards. You get these cards that other people deal you and their opinions and their advice. And you get cards from life. This is what's happening to you right now. This is what your family's doing to you. It's really up to you how you're playing your cards, how you choose to view the situation, react to the situation, your emotional response, how you treat people. So it's really, you know, you kind of get what I'm saying?
And the great thing is that we're evolving human beings. We can change. We can grow. Just because I'm saying this today doesn't mean that tomorrow I'm going to have the exact same opinion. So that's the beautiful thing about life and love and, learning from other people and absorbing from other people.
Exactly. I kind of want to change pace because there's something I really want to share with the audience is my hygiene video. I did a little hygiene video on YouTube, and it's supposed to be comical, and I went kind of bluntly about it, but I'm like, all right, this is what you got to do to have better hygiene. So let's watch a little bit. We have a few clips from it. We're not really in the, age of bushmaster and cave woman and that kind of stuff, so learn how to use shaver and shaving cream, and this applies to men too. If you can't do it yourself, go get it done somewhere. Have somebody do it for you, because, hey, guys like to get action down there too, and a girl doesn't want to go down there and be having a bush in her face. So trim that crap, or she can.
Oh my God!
Funny.
I don't mind a bush in my face.
If you like the caveman type.
I don't know. Let's not. My mom's probably watching this, so let's not go there. But I mean,
Well,
there's no. I don't think that you can say that there are absolutes.
maybe your mom can relate. Maybe she's had a bush in her face a time or two.
Maybe.
Back in the day, hair was a lot more popular than it is now. So, do we have some more clips? Did y'all save? Because there's several that I wanted to share because, I was hoping.
Okay, and the most important thing ever is if you think at all that you're going to get lucky, if you're going to go on a date, or if you have the slightest inkling that you're going to get laid, wash your damn self before you have sex. Go to the bathroom, find somewhere.
Somebody told me that is a totally quotable quote, wash your damn self.
Well, I'm a firm believer of washing your damn self every day. So
Well,
there
yeah,
you go.
But a lot of people, they don't realize that, if you don't wash yourself at the end of a long day and you want to go home and get lucky, it's you got some BO to address before you get naked. So it's do you have any comment about, BO or hygiene?
I agree with you. Wash yourself.
Well, very simply put, wash yourself. Yeah, I was I get up in there with my advice in that video. Do we have one more clip or, yeah? They're yeah, let's do it.
Because nobody wants to be smelling a sweaty armpit or horrid breath. You don't want to kiss somebody if it's gangrene in there and stuff. And then, it's very important for guys especially to wash your hands, because if you're putting fingers in places, you could give us a yeast infection or a bacterial infection. And do you really want us ladies to associate your name with a whole week of itching and burning? No. So wash your hands before you go putting it in our private parts. Okay.
You went there.
I went
You
there.
went there.
I went there. Well,
That's
see,
funny.
we need more honesty and truth in this world.
Well, as long as we're being honest, I believe that hair is completely natural. Okay, people?
Okay, and that's what I like about Anna. She has the other side of the coin opinion here. So it's totally cool. I'm an advocate of shave your body and be bald and no bushes, but
And I'm an advocate of do what makes you feel comfortable.
exactly, and that's true. But also might want to have to compromise with your
Yeah.
partner. If your partner's yo, your bush is out of control, can you get a little bushwhacker and do something about it? Maybe at least take it down a few inches, just as a compromise.
As a compromise, of course.
It's
Talk
doable.
about it.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
doable.
shave the legs because you're looking like the ape in the zoo. I'm just joking around. But okay, so I wanted to tell a quick story about something not to do. So one night I was in my apartment and I heard all this screaming and yelling and cussing and I go outside and it's my next door neighbors were having a lovers argument right on the street in the front of the driveway of the apartment complex. And the guy is kind of trapping her in the car, and he's just yelling and cussing and calling her things. And I was one, I didn't even know they were dating. I'd seen them around, but I didn't know they were together. But two, he's sitting there yelling about how he felt disrespected, that her ex had invited her to dinner or something like that. And he's just wailing on her in full view of the whole block. It was so loud, the whole damn block could hear this going on. And this neighbor lady of mine, she's really actually a very nice, sweet, gentle person. She's a massage therapist. She does Reiki. Very sweet soul. I talked to her. I know her. So I did not like how he was treating her. Even if he felt disrespected and all that, he was extremely disrespecting her by trapping her in the car, calling her names, cussing at her where the whole block can hear. Do you think that kind of behavior is going to make people respect him? No.
Yeah, no.
I knew him before, and in fact, I kind of liked him up until I saw him acting that way. I was like, that is incredibly, in my opinion, inappropriate way to handle a conversation like that. And so, like, I lost respect for him. And his whole point was he was mad about being disrespected. I was like, well, you're kind of going about it the wrong way. Like, if maybe you have a calm discussion with no cussing and yelling and, like, just talk about what happened, I think that's a much more mature, positive way to go about it instead of the whole block knowing something's going on. So do y'all have any comment about that issue? Like,
I agree. I don't think you should fight like that in public and scream at each other. You keep that private. Well, don't scream, but
I don't know, even in private, you know, I don't think people should call each other names.
no name calling.
Definitely no abuse or hitting, you know.
Especially because once you say something, that's it. You can't take it back, you know?
That's true.
You can't take it back.
And verbal words can be just as powerful as a punch sometimes.
Oh,
like,
my gosh, yes.
the words can hurt you.
Especially coming from someone you love.
Yeah, and they stick in your memory, and it replays, and stuff can trigger it in your future. So if you've ever been in an abusive relationship and stuff is triggering you, you know, you got to heal within yourself from that. Attempt to forgive that person, because harboring that negative energy is like bringing you down. But I hope you enjoyed our show today. We have like 1 minute left. Do you have any other comments on love, dating, relationships?
Oh, it's on me.
Yeah.
Well, just everyone have a happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
With chocolate and lingerie.
Ooh, champagne maybe.
And if you're single like me, just love yourself.
Yeah, just love yourself, have fun. If you want to contact me, this is my info. That is our show for the day. Thank you, Amy, for taking your time to come out here, be on the show. Thank you, Anna, to come back and be on here
Thanks
again.
for having me again. Yay.
Yeah. And next week, we're going to have a panel of guys talking about love, dating, and relationships. So we're going to get kind of the manly opinion on stuff and stuff that they say that, you know, is important in relationships or not advised. And we're going to have a guy who's going to bring a spiritual perspective on love and dating. And, like, he teaches men how to treat women like a goddess. So he does really high level.
Is he single?
No, he just got married. But thank you for joining us. Please be back with us next week, Thursday, 1 p.m. live, or you can watch the show later on my YouTube channel. So thank you for tuning into the Street Angel Show, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
To heal these streets, wipe away the dust with your sea.
You are watching T Radio V, Radio and TV.